We already had a little bit of the introduction for the brush. You know the difference between opacity and the flow. However, for good dodging and burning, we have to have really deep view into the brush settings, and that's what I want to talk about in this lesson. So let's open our brush, and as a starting point, I'm going to choose this basic hard-edged brush. So that's the brush you saw before. There is no difference, and we're going to start to work with this, which is going to help you to understand how brush works, how to build really nice and soft brush which is suitable for good dodging and burning. Of course, I have this pen pressure selected right now. I don't want this. I want to start with this simple brush, not with this one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this brush presets, and we need to start working with this. I'm going to turn off the shape dynamics or pen pressure, and we need to start simply with this. So that's our basic brush. Nothing is different. You already seen this before. And first step, I'm having a look into shape dynamics. As you know, it's way better to work with pen, because pen allows you to work with the pen pressure. It has pen sensitivity, so we're going to start from this step. If you don't have a pen, you just cannot set up the brush that way. Let's start with this control option. It's turned off at the moment, and I'm going to set this up as a pen pressure. And once it's changing, you can see how our brush looks like and how our brush will be working right now. As I have this done, I'm just going to select this just in case I will forget, but it actually works exactly the same way. Whether here is selected or not, if here we have selected, it will be that way. We have also below this something like minimum diameter. These endings here are not really something I'm looking for, and it's not going to give me this really nice roundy objects while I will be dodging and burning. Of course, it all depends on the effect you are looking for, and it will be okay if you will be working with this. However, if you want more roundy objects, you can pull up the minimum diameter into a bit bigger one. So then, as you can see, the pen pressure is not giving you such a soft endings. But I believe it's better for me to not get really weird and different shifts when I will be dodging and burning my image. So I'm usually pulling up this minimum diameter between 40, maybe up to 60. It can be even lower if you find this comfortable. The second thing that I'm looking at is transfer. Right now, as you can see, we have this not really nice looking thing as we had before. Why is it like this? Simply speaking, is because of the hardness of the brush. So go back to the hardness of the brush, and of course when we will be doing dodging and burning, the hardness will not be so strong. The best way to do dodge and burn is to keep hardness really soft. The difference is when you actually doing clone stamp, where you cloning the image, or when you're using healing brush, the hardness usually it's better when it's a bit harder. But it also, you have to find a way what works better for you. For the purpose of dodging or burning, I keep hardness at 0. Now we can go back to transfer, and this looks absolutely different, nice and soft as we wanted it. Also, what I always use, and which is very helpful for dodging and burning, is to activate our airbrush. It's called build up over here. Also, you can activate this airbrush on the top over here. Because of this, when we will be working, it not only have sensitivity of our pen, but it's going to build up when you're going to stop. Of course, there's always a risk when you will be dodging on burning, especially when you will be doing local dodge and burn. Even though you don't have understanding right now, you're going to understand this process very quickly. When we're going to cover area with the shadow by this brush, let's paint something. I'm going to paint this around the object. And right now, let's say I want to fill this inside with the size of the brush. This seems quite suitable. And let's say I want to leave the white ring inside. As you can see, when I'm going to paint, it's going to have range bigger than the size of my brush. That's why it's better to be careful with the airbrush option. I find this comfortable, but for you, what I have to say, better to be aware, and if you can see such difficulties, better to turn off airbrush option sometimes. The option I check at the end is just smoothing. With this kind of brush, I really love to work with dodging and burning. I believe this lesson gave you the general view on our brush, and I believe working with dodging and burning will be much more comfortable when you understand how your brush works